My wife had most of the stuff. Most of my family's out of state. It's been my girl. Would you just All right, at this time, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is December 22nd, 2025, 7 p.m. and a special meeting, and we'll have our call to order. Establish a quorum, and we'll start with a roll call. Ms. Julie Fontenot.
Here.
Mr. Joe Becknell.
Here.
Ms. Vanessa Gillard.
Here.
Mr. Daniel Hennigan.
Here.
And Mr. Gerald Guidry.
Here.
All right, and we do have a quorum. At this time, if you don't mind, stand with us. We're going to do an invocation and followed by the pledge.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and your support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of our community. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on our agenda is to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, first item we have is comments by Town Attorney Russ Stoops. Mr. Stoops.
All right, guys. So I actually asked the mayor to put me on here. We've got a special session tonight to discuss the CEA. I'll get into a little bit of more specifics about that kind of at the end, because that'll lead us into the next part. It's funny, I was talking to Daniel about this. There was a question asked. He asked me something at the last city council meeting, and I wish I would have said more, but it was a little bit in the moment. He had asked, can we approve it subject to town attorney's approval? I said no. What I wish I would have said is no, but, and given some reasons behind that. And so one of the things I want to get everybody on the same page about each of our functions inside of this. And so the reason I wish I would have said no but is because what I believe my function is and where I fit into this whole thing. I'm a resource to y'all. You know, y'all ask questions. I might not have the answers. I hope I do. It makes me look a little better at my job. So I'll take those points where I can get them. But, you know, if we're talking about, you know, a CEA, whether it looks good, I'm happy to give those thoughts. You know, I might not have the answer at that point, but I think as far as the function of the council, y'all are the ones that ask questions. Y'all are, like, we have a specific thing that comes up, you know, ask what's on your mind. Ask it to the person that has the motion or the issue that's coming up. Ask it to me if you feel like you need a legal thing, or if you just want my opinion, not that matters, but you know, I want to be a resource for y'all. So that's where I fit into this from my perspective. And so the reason, but I also don't feel like I'm the one that should make those decisions, because at the end of the day, I'm not elected by anybody. I'm not accountable to anybody. I'm not supposed to be making those decisions. And so I understand we have the CEA issue. And so I've been around for a few months now, so I felt like I'm learning y'all are learning me. I've been talking to people, and I want this thing. What I really want is I want everybody to start pulling the same direction. That's at the end of the day, that's what I want. So I felt like getting off the sidelines a little bit and, you know, trying to bridge that gap and get us all pulling the same direction and understanding everybody's role in this process would help do that. So to that end, I mean, I spent half a day on Wednesday of last week. I met with the mayor for a while. I met with the chief for a while, talking about, all right, what are we going to do? How do we get these things much more streamlined so we're not having special sessions, you know, the Monday before Christmas, and spend more time with our families around this time. So I think all of that is going very positively. Unfortunately for y'all, I only get to talk to all 5 of y'all in these settings. So that's why I wanted to do this here. I have talked to Daniel a little bit. I understand his concerns and why we're here. I totally get all it. And so going to more of why we're here. It's a little bit of a legal nerd thing, but there's an Obergefell decision. It's much more commonly known as the gay marriage decision, where the Supreme Court felt like, you know, states couldn't regulate that right. I'm not saying whether I'm for or against that. I'm just saying that's the decision that I'm talking about. Scalia had a dissent in there, and I always really liked it because it was he talked about we 9 unelected people are basically getting in the way of like the democratic process at work, and it's like best fashion. And so what he was getting at is like, look, we're not elected, we're not accountable to anybody, and here we are stepping in, effectively making law for people. Well, that's the right feeling, wrong feeling, I don't get into that, but I thought it was interesting because he talked about the democratic process. He said, look, if from a broad scope of things, 26 states now have legalized this thing. So this thing is moving in a direction that some people feel is positive, some people feel is negative, but it's happening organically in the way that a bunch of people writing the Constitution with a feather kind of envisioned it working. So here for tonight, we have a CEA. You know, we talked about it last time. The council made a resolution, and Daniel also talked about this. The law on this is, I wish it was a little clearer and better, but piecing all of it together, the proper process for this. The mayor is the person ultimately with the authority to sign contracts on behalf of the city. That is absolute. That's in subsection 4 of his statute. So where we go from there, when he is authorized to do something, he elects to not sign it. We can have a special meeting, or we do it at the next regular session. We've chosen a special meeting for this. To discuss whether or not we want to effectively override his veto. They don't call it a veto in the statutes. That's more or less the way it works. And so y'all can vote tonight, and kind of going back to, you know, when we had the police officer hiring thing, y'all are allowed to, when y'all put up something for a vote, y'all are allowed to tailor that vote to whatever you think is appropriate. So if that means it's, we're going to override the mayor's veto tonight. We're going to vote on that, yes or no, or if it means, we do, table it for another day. Y'all have those options. Y'all are the ones that set the parameters on these votes. And I want y'all to understand that y'all are the ones that decide how those things come to pass. And so, going specifically to tonight as part of that process, the mayor has to give his reasons for why he chose not to follow through his resolution. He's going to speak very briefly on that, and then y'all decide how we're going to vote on that. I do know that this fits into a much larger conversation about budgets. And, part of the reason I wanted to start talking about this is because one of y'all's biggest functions is budgets. Y'all are the purse strings, and that kind of follows at basically every level of government. And that's United States Congress. They have the power to tax, they have the power to spend, they have the power to do whatever. Similarly, the president can veto, do that, and they can override that veto. So we're really just kind of watching the same democratic process Scalia was talking about at play right here, and it's just how we march through it. And I want y'all to understand where y'all's role is in that process. I think the next thing we'll do, we'll hear the mayor's reasons for the veto, and then y'all are free to ask whatever questions y'all want. If y'all want information from him, me, y'all can do those things. That's more power to y'all. And then, then someone makes a motion based on however you want to vote on it. My hope is we can get through the CEA tonight and decide how we want to handle that, and then leave the broader topic of budgets for January. I want to keep working on this with everybody individually and get myself much more involved in that process. Now that I've, sat down with everybody, people know a little bit about me, I know a little bit about them. I think January could be a lot more productive on that front if we save most of the overarching budgetary concerns for that meeting. But again, y'all are the ones with the power on that.
Do we want to have questions for you right now, or no?
It's up to y'all. We can just
Do we
move into
mind
your
if we go
reasons
back
and
you- okay.
yeah.
All right. So I have two reasons for this. The reason I didn't sign it, and one is to establish a viable conversation concerning the controlling of expenditures and budgeting. That's the first reason. The second reason is to somewhat protect the governing authority, which is the council, and their ability to operate within the confines of the Budget Act. And more specifically, that would be RS 39, 13, and 11, and that'd be item A. And those are the only two reasons that I vetoed, or I should say vetoed, that I chose not to sign the contract. So, any questions?
I made a request when I requested for this special meeting to have discussion of the budget on there. Establish a viable budgeting conversation, attempted to do that, protect the city council in reference to the budget and the Budget Act. Try to initiate that conversation, make the comment, we're the ones who have to decide. So I make that in agreement with the rest of the council, and it doesn't happen. That's frustrating. I feel like we're talking out of both sides of our mouth. We have to talk about the budget. We all agree with that. So I go through the budget, not necessarily line item by line item. Cindy gave me some reports, really helped. And I have these conversations just to put out there so that over the course of the next month, the administration side and on chief side, they can help get this information so we can make a reasonable decision. That didn't happen. And that's frustrating. And I don't understand.
have a question.
Okay.
School board would be paying for this additional officer, correct?
83%, correct.
Okay, so if we were to put one of our officers there versus someone from the sheriff department, which is currently at the high school,
Correct.
and I don't understand a lot about this, but wouldn't that be a plus for us to put the police officer there? Wouldn't that help the chief's budget by only putting out 17% of the salary versus 100% of the salary versus putting somebody from the sheriff department? I know when we spoke, I thought the idea was great. Well, just send another sheriff department guy over there. But when I started thinking about it and talking to other people, and I may be wrong about this, but if you are paying a salary, whoever that cop or person's gonna be, would that help your budget? I'm just asking a question, you don't even have to answer. Make me understand.
The answer if I could find out the answer.
Oh, okay.
That to you.
So,
We're gaining a free, almost a free officer. Contrary to being 3 or 4 short that we're trying to rehire, we're gaining another officer with salary benefits. When they're in hiatus, we use them during the summer. Staff Sergeant Johnson, he's off. He helped us do our school program, our gift cards and our children's toys for that. We get to utilize them both ways. If we have an emergency during a hurricane, they're still here. If we need people quit or in something, on the weekends, holidays, when there's no school, we can use it. It's a no-brainer. That is absolutely a no-brainer.
well, that's what I'm saying. So the school board paying for 83% of this officer's salary and insurance. It's sa- it's saving a portion of your budget by them covering that. And that's just during the school day time, is that correct? So Monday through Friday, or if they have a holiday, they're done. So they're doing other things. So I'm just, trying to figure out if this helps your budget, this allows you,
This additional officer for almost free.
okay, so is there gonna be another officer placed at the elementary school?
He's already there.
But he's going to the junior
No,
high?
he's not. I'm mistaken.
Oh, so we would need a new one.
2 free officers.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, so another one will go to the junior high. Now, it's
One
terrible,
that's currently employed.
I'm sorry,
She's already working.
she's already working,
And
okay.
she's been transferred.
Okay, so being a mother and a grandmother, okay, it's a shame and the time where we live in that we have to put police officers, sheriff department in the schools. But how terrible would it be if we did not have an officer or somebody there and something would happen because we voted not to put an officer there? And if my children or my grandchildren were at school, I would want them protected. I see the benefits of having an officer at all 3 schools. I see a benefit to your budget if we use our officers. It saves on your budget, so therefore, your budget isn't gonna be as high. Is that true? Understanding it's gonna bring
Pretty much.
your budget
I'm
down.
still 3 or 4 short, and I
Okay.
need to replace those. But
Okay.
yes, when we pull up the next, it's gonna be a big asset in school. It will save our budget, yes.
Chief, when did the conversation begin about placing an SRO at middle school with you?
When the conversation,
So-
with the coach, well, we've been discussing it, we want to do.
Sure.
Recently, when I talked to the principal, we were able to do it.
Would you say 2 years, a year, 6 months?
No, we've been discussing it, we just couldn't do it. Over a year, we've been discussing, but we weren't able to do it. Then me and him had a conversation and decided, I think we can make this happen, so we implemented the plan of action.
Did you ever talk to Mr. Dietz and tell him, hey, you may want to talk to the mayor or the council about this? About
I assigned the troops. I assigned the troops.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
I would be more than happy, but I have to be able to get on the agenda to discuss things with y'all. Pretty much, that's how.
All you
it's
have to
been
do
for
is
me.
ask me, hey, we got.
I do talk, I do talk,
You haven't, about this
but
SRO.
I have not.
So again, but
I put it on the agenda.
I don't understand why this has been in the conversation for over a year, and Coach Dietz, Mr. Dietz, never thought to talk to us, to say, hey, guys, look, this is a really important, this is not directed at you specifically. It is, to a certain degree, why would he not talk to us? Why would he not say, hey, Mr. Becknow, I know you're at the game, can I just drop a line? Hey, we really could use this.
Well,
Because-
I didn't ask for you. I mean,
But also, this would have been so much simpler if, when he brought it up to you, you said, great idea, I'm on board, we need to talk to the council. You need to talk to the council or the mayor, because I know the mayor's been in his office, I know they've talked. Now, shame on him. And my frustration would be, if this is such a no-brainer, such a good thing, and that principal can't contact us to say, this is really important, that's mind-boggling.
well,
Either it's important or
I'll
it's
take
not.
responsibility for that, because we didn't really talk. I won't blame him for that, I'll take responsibility. Perhaps, I did mention it prior to putting it on the agenda. I mean, before it was on the agenda, we kind of give a heads up, but, I mean, I guess, to me, as a chief, it's a no-brainer. That's how I feel. I try to make decisions based on common sense. And to me, it's a no-brainer, it's common sense.
Right, so part of my,
I wouldn't think a common person would have an issue.
yeah, so part of my point is, if he approaches us and we can get this 6 months out, 8 months out, a year out, then in that budget conversation or whatever conversations, if it's CEAs with McNeese, if it's whatever else it is, we can, and this may have happened, I don't know, we could have sent her through alert training prior to that placement. We could have gotten her a rifle, qualified on it. We could
She
have
has a
been,
rifle.
she's qualified,
We have the rifle.
she's qualified through post on it.
Not sure, she's supposed to. She's in training right now.
Right, I'm just saying, we could have gotten out in front of it. And this wouldn't be necessarily happening. But thank you for answering the questions. I mean, your answers are fair.
Most of the schools in our parish is the sheriff's department that takes care of it.
Not in the municipality. They're short, we're not the only ones short-handed, they're short-handed too. They actually, when they're short of deputies, they're using the security guard contract company. Most of us chiefs met with the sheriff and said, if you're gonna give the money to a private security, we're gonna take that money and utilize that for our agency, and we're gonna get an extra cop. And then when we have needs, we can use that cop, and y'all paying most of their training and salary.
And
That's done in Westlake, Vinton, all the municipalities, except in Quincy, I don't know if they.
and we're not gonna be left stranded when the company goes under.
And that did,
Like
thank you for bringing that up, that actually happened, and the school board was in a bind, and they had to hurry up and try to get more security guards. There's not enough police officers, that's why it's very vital that we maintain retention and try to keep what we got. We're 3 or 4 short, and I'm battling with that. And it's very important, I'm not asking for a bunch of extra officers, I'm asking to maintain status quo that we've continued for the last several years. Why it shouldn't be any different this year, that's all. So I'm trying to ask, just be fair and objective, that's it.
You know, put these 2 police officers at the school there, you're gonna hire 2 more guys?
I'm 3 or 4 short, yes. My intention is to hire 3 or 4.
How many policemen have you got now?
Right now, we're 1 detective short and maybe 3 patrol. I'd have to look at the numbers, I can't. Probably 3 patrol officers short.
But how many do you have on duty
We
now?
have 2 on each shift, which the officers safety.
They have eight guys on patrol with a part-time guy, so 9. Well, 8 spots. I think 1 left pretty recently.
Yeah, we had one y'all approved that we were still short, resigned, so we were short.
I'm just giving the numbers.
Yeah,
Here. So depending on if we count the person who I think left, but I'm not 100% sure. 7 to 9, including a part-time guy. 3 admin, of course, chief, so 4 admin. 7 to 9 patrolmen, and that's counting the SROs separate. So 7 to 9 patrolmen, 2 SROs separate, and a combination of, I can't always tell who's part-time, full-time, and who left. I just don't have access to that. So somewhere between 4 to 6 dispatchers is what we have right now. And I think that part goes into our January conversation.
yes.
And then it says going to be getting long, like an intermission to get snacks.
Water will be provided. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Eric.
To inform Daniel as well, he talked about training. So, there is an SRO basic training and advanced training that, just like when you go to state for a police officer, there's an SRO post-certification training that's only offered in the summer. It's it's the end of June, beginning of July, and then I think the end of July as well. But it's only offered in the summer. You take the basic when you first become an SRO, and then the next summer you take the advanced. So she'll be going to that, so she can be certified as well. But and it's a 40-hour class, so week-long class, and then she'll be a certified SRO through the state,
Right.
Like a post-certification.
Right, highlights my point.
And when you hire a new officer that's not post-certified, post-recognizes, you have 1 year. So that's really not that much of a different scenario when you're training the officer and she is post-certified.
Right.
So it's the same.
And then with SRO, you have to be post-certified 2 years before you could even be, to go to that SRO position, that SRO post certification. But I just wanted to let you know that with as far as that training.
Any other questions? I appreciate the comments back and forth. I would hope y'all can let us bring it back to the CEA where we're at. I know there's some concern with the budget. The final word with the school board, when I had the conversation with them, was not to do away with the CEA. It was to pull and hold. It was very specific to pull and hold. The budgetary issues that we are facing right now need to be addressed, including those positions as well as new officers that may be coming in. We definitely, if we have the opportunity, we should have our officers in the schools. There is no two ways about it. This is not doing this to harm the police department. This is just a temporary pause to get us to the point where we can have our budget meeting. As I requested, I'd like to sit down and go over the budget. I gave dates so that we can get that done. I know it's around the 1st and all that. We're trying to get it, if you can't make it during those times, I think I gave 5 or 7 days that were available to sit down so we can go through it. We will have a budget that I've put together already for you to look at. If you have some options you want to put in, take out, that's free to you. But basically what that budget is going to represent is what we need to cure what we're over. So by us signing the CEA and moving that in that direction, we were adding more debt to already a over budgeted budget. Does that make sense?
And I'm not trying to be antagonistic,
Yeah.
but to me, I think we can easily separate the two conversations. I don't think it adds, I'll put the cart before the horse. This is awkward. I don't think y'all are 3 or 4 officers short. So like that's the burden that's gonna be on you to convince me that, yeah, do vote for the budget you suggest based on this. And that's January's conversation, but I think
Yeah, we'll have that conversation. I'll validate whatever I need, and we can come to
Right.
a reason.
Well, like I think we can separate them. Yes, and it's obvious we're all in agreement. We want to do it. It's just what's the best manner in which to do it. To me, we can separate them. I'm going to make a motion here in a second to enter into the CDA. And if we can't solve our issues in January, February, then okay, well, they'll have to figure out a different SRO. You know, I don't know. I guess that's a February conversation. But I do think we can split the two issues. Just because we approve the CEA and the SRO replacement doesn't automatically mean we need to approve, the next hire, or second hire, third hire.
And just to further that, us trying to approve it today, which is not on the agenda to make a decision, if it's not going to make a difference to the school board holds their council meeting or their board meeting after we do our January meeting and this CEA, and I would like to request of Chief, if you don't mind, we do need to finalize J.I. Watson, or Mr. Eric is, because we're halfway into the year and we don't have that authorized. So if you could, if you don't mind me doing this, is if you can get with the school board and ask them, tell them we did this in the special meeting, okay? That we want to go ahead and just do the one for J.I. Watson. Let's get that signature on there, and that way we have that done. And to go ahead and we just single out the middle school so that we have it for that January meeting. I anticipate that, and I'm assuming just from the conversation I'm hearing here, that people are going to be in favor of doing that. But we do need to correct the budget. So.
I'm confused. You just said we can't vote on it till, they're not meeting till the day.
I'm fine signing the contract is what I'm saying. It's already been approved for me to sign the contract. I don't have an issue signing the contract
For both.
as long as we get this budget sorted. So that's
In
all.
due respect, I agree with Daniel.
Yeah.
Sorting the budget is a whole separate issue. This officer is currently employed and being reassigned by the chief to work in the school. It's
Well,
not
here-
gonna affect the current budget in any capacity. So why can't we just let them vote on it and put our officers in the school? And we can also, like Dr. Kennedy said, and meet and discuss the numbers on the follow-up.
The school board does not meet until after our January meeting, so they won't have it approved.
Right.
Okay, so
But
it
why
doesn't
would
matter
we
if we do it today or if we
Okay.
do it in
Let's-
January, right?
Let's do this. I think the council is the one with the ability to decide what they ultimately want to do today. Whether that's to table it, until January, that's within their prerogative. I think they can amend the agenda to approve the CEA as it's drafted if they want to do that. I think-
I don't think that you can take action on it if you amend the
You
agenda.
can't.
You can't take
It's
action.
not an actual deal for the agenda.
So I'm frustrated beyond all comparison. When I make a request as close to law as I can follow without being an attorney, and then it doesn't happen with no explanation, and now we can't do anything about it.
Mhm.
Why are we here? Why are we here?
Look, I think we are close enough on the agenda item to amend it to add a particular vote if that's what the council wants to do.
That's fine.
I think that's the best
That's your call.
course of action on that.
Sure.
This time, do we just make a motion to?
Yes, it's a motion to amend the agenda to add a vote on the CEA. And then we hold a vote on it. I guess a formal motion on it.
I move to amend the agenda to add a vote to entering into the previously discussed CEA between the town of Iowa and Country Parish School Board in reference to placing school resource officers at Jack Watson Elementary and Highway School.
Second.
It's the unanimous.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
correct.
good.
Yes.
Thank you for making a statement. I didn't want to jump in there. So it has to be unanimous. So we've got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, wait, no, you have to vote. All you did was amend the
I'm sorry.
agenda.
We did.
Okay.
I move to enter into the aforementioned CA to the town of Iowa and Country Parish School Board in reference to the school resource officer placement at Iowa Middle School and Jack Watson Elementary.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right. Now we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you folks for showing up.
Good night.
Thank you, Dr.
Until the end of the year to do my sexual health. I have to do the sexual health, but then I have to do the ethics.
Yes,
So tomorrow, y'all.
yes.
And
Wednesday morning, yes.
you know, if it's set.
Yes.
7:30.
7:30.
What to do, but I'm trying to get it tomorrow. I had basketball last week.